When I got towards the end of my undergraduate degree, I started to think, I'd like to do a postgraduate degree. For me, it was going on to look at the methods of history and things like that, and learning about how historians actually work with the primary sources rather than just reading what they've written. That's what sparked off my interest permanently. Well, it started off really as just a kind of ordinary biography of a 12th century French ruler, but it very quickly turned into a lot more than that. I've gone around archives and museums in France looking for original documents surviving from the 12th century. From the beginning, the idea was to go back to the sources, go back to basics and try and find out as much as we could about this guy's life. You realise that in the past, when you were an undergraduate, you were really just reading other people's views and trying to weigh them up against one another. But now, you're the person deciding on your own view. It's quite exciting to be able to piece together something which helps us understand our past.
Glasgow's been doing history for a long time. We can trace ourselves back to the 18th century, but in the formal sense, since the late 19th century. There are a lot of historians at Glasgow University.
We have a wide range, which is nice, that the department doesn't have just one dominant ethos.
How you use one international currency to the other without having some kind of... People really haven't looked at the popular politics of the making of the Union. It's traditionally been seen as
I'm a medieval historian. I'm mainly interested in power and culture.
Women's sport is something that really hasn't been tackled, but I think it really is quite good.
Perfect natural crucible for a natural experiment.
Most of what you hear about the First World War is just stuck in, Flanders, is stuck in France.
We've left no other trace of their existence. To look at a place where business, technology, and politics come into contact.
No matter what topic you would find yourself landing on, there would be somebody in the university who'd be able to supervise that and supervise it well.
We're trying to always create a fusion of the strictly historical with the contemporary world and to ask ourselves what impact the study of history can make on the contemporary world.
History has a lot to say and a lot to inform current policymakers, chastising them perhaps about the myths and the easy answers that they look for by delivering the kind of history that can inform future policy.
One of the things that myself and other postgraduate colleagues talk about quite a lot is the lifestyle that comes along with doing a PhD.
The great thing about, I think, the system at the stage that I'm in my life is that I'm able to work independently.
The whole experience of doing a postgraduate degree is quite a big leap.
You have to be very self-regulated. You have to get out there and do the reading. People aren't going to tell you read A, B and C. They'll give you a list and say go explore. You figure out what's important.
There's a kind of learning to use one's own initiative and academic autonomy.
So there is a transition, but it's a transition also where we try to provide as much support as possible and as much direction as possible.
I feel a little bit more like a colleague here than I did when I was an undergrad, which I think is probably the biggest part about being a postgrad.
Students are encouraged to present their work on an equal footing with staff, which is a great strength.
They are teachers as well. They work as graduate teaching assistants. They participate in research seminars. They're key elements in research seminars.
They're participating as equal members of the department in terms of the discussion, in terms of the contribution that they're giving.
One good thing about Glasgow is that we have office space, and I have an office with 3 other people who are all working on PhDs in modern history.
People always stress to you when you're starting a PhD about how it's really lonely and you'll be really bored and fed up. So it's really nice to have a bit of support.
I've found this the most collegial place to teach and work of my career. It's a very friendly place.
The impression overall is of a bunch of people who really care about what they're doing and who are very supportive of the research students and want to communicate their knowledge and help other people to achieve.
Glasgow as a city has much more than just the university to commend itself to our postgraduate students. It's an immensely interesting and exciting place to live.
Culturally, there's something very confident about the city.
I think there's a bit of a buzz about it. People always say that when they come and visit me, there's just so much happening all the time.
I find that Glasgow's just the right size of city.
What a fabulous place in terms of shops and restaurants.
Within an hour you can be not only in the countryside but in the pretty deep countryside in Scotland. You can be looking at, 11th century ruins or any number of castles which seem to be everywhere in Scotland.
It's not just research for research's sake. We are going for a qualification, and so we always bear that in mind. Our aim is that everybody should succeed, that everybody should get the degree that they set out to get. And we have an exceptionally high success rate in making sure that happens. It takes time, it's a big commitment, but the whole point is that it should end with something, with you with a qualification, you with a great dissertation, and you fully trained to go on to a career